Why does the government pay for fireworks, but not for your lunch? And why can we all enjoy a beautiful city park, but our roads get so jammed with traffic? It seems weird, right? Well, it all comes down to a simple economic idea that explains why we can't always have nice things, at least not without everyone chipping in. In our last chat, we saw how markets can fail when there are side effects, like pollution. But today, we're re-looking at something even more fundamental, goods that the market might not even bother to provide in the first place. To get our heads around this, we need to sort everything in the world into 4 boxes. We just need to ask just simple questions. First, is it excludable? In simple terms, can I stop you from using it if you don't pay? A ticket to a concert is excludable. The cinema staff won't let you in without one. A loaf of bread in a store is excludable. You can't just walk out with it. Second, is it rival in consumption? This means if I use it, does that prevent you from using it, or does it reduce the amount available for you? If I eat a plate of nasi goreng, you can't eat that same plate of nasi goreng. It's gone. That's rivalry. Okay, got it. Excludable and rival. Let's use these 2 questions to build a little matrix. This simple grid will unlock everything. Let's start with the easiest box, private goods. These are both excludable and rival. Think about pretty much anything you buy at a store. Your smartphone, it's excludable. You had to pay for it. And it's rival. While you're using it, no one else can. Your favorite pair of sneakers, a cup of coffee, a laptop. These are all private goods. The free market is absolutely brilliant at providing these. Producers have a direct incentive to make them because they can charge you for them, and you're willing to pay because you want exclusive use. Easy enough. Now, let's jump to the complete opposite corner of our matrix, public goods. These are non-excludable and non-rival. And this is where things get tricky. A classic example is national defense. Can the government exclude a specific person from being protected by the military? No, it protects everyone within the country's borders. Is it rival? Not really. Me being protected doesn't reduce the amount of protection available for you. Let's take another example, a lighthouse. Its light warns all ships about dangerous rocks, whether they paid for the service or not. It's non-excludable. And one ship seeing the light doesn't stop another ship from seeing it. It's non-rival. Here's the big problem this creates. It's called the free rider problem. Imagine a coastal village needs a lighthouse. If a private company tries to build it and asks all the ship captains to pay a fee, what would you do? You might think, well, if everyone else pays, the lighthouse will be built anyway. I can just use its light for free. You become a free rider. But what happens if every single ship captain thinks the same way? No one pays, the company makes no money, and the lighthouse is never built. All the ships are left in the dark, risking disaster. This is why the market fails to provide public goods. There's no profit incentive, and that's exactly why governments step in. The government uses its power to tax everyone, all the citizens who benefit from national security, or all the businesses that benefit from safe shipping lanes, and then uses that money to provide the public good. It's the solution to the free rider problem. Think about street lights in your city, flood control systems, or even the information from a weather forecast satellite. You don't pay a subscription for them directly, but you do pay for them through taxes. All right, let's move to the third box. These are called common resources. They are non-excludable, but they are rival in consumption. This category is fascinating and, frankly, a bit dangerous. The classic story to explain this is the tragedy of the commons. Imagine a public pasture open to all herders in a village. No one can be excluded from using it. But there's a catch. The grass is rival. If my sheep eat a patch of grass, your sheep can't. Now, as an individual herder, my incentive is to put as many of my own sheep on the pasture as possible to make the most profit. If I only put a few, some other herder will just fill the space. So I add more, and so does my neighbor, and so does everyone else. Soon, the field is overcrowded with sheep. The grass is eaten down to the roots, the land is destroyed, and now no one's sheep can graze. The resource is gone for everyone. The private incentive maximize my own herd conflicts directly with the social good maintaining the pasture for the long term. This is the tragedy of the commons, and once you see it, you'll see it everywhere. Think about fish in the ocean. The open sea is non-excludable. It's hard to stop anyone from fishing, but the fish are rival. Every fish caught by one giant trawler is a fish that can't be caught by another, and more importantly, can't reproduce. Without rules, every fishing company has an incentive to catch as many fish as possible, as fast as possible, leading to overfishing and the collapse of entire fish populations. We've seen this happen with tuna, cod, and other species around the world. What about clean air and water? They are common resources. A factory might not pay to pollute the air it is free to use, but its pollution degrades the air quality for all of us. That's rivalry. A classic example in Indonesia is the haze from forest fires for land clearing. For the individual company, it's a cheap way to clear land. But the smoke is non-excludable, drifting across cities and even neighboring countries, causing health problems for millions. The resource of clean air is being consumed. Even traffic congestion is a tragedy of the commons. The road is non-excludable during rush hour, but it's highly rival. Every extra car that gets on the highway slows down every other car just a little bit. Your individual decision to drive adds a tiny cost to everyone else, but you don't feel that cost directly. When thousands of people make that same calculation, we get gridlock, like the infamous Masjid in Jakarta. So, how do we solve this tragedy? How do we stop ourselves from destroying these shared resources? There are a few main approaches. First, the government can step in with direct regulation. It can set a clear limit. For example, governments issue fishing quotas, telling fishermen exactly how many tons of a certain fish they're allowed to catch each year. They can set emission standards for cars and factories to protect air quality. Second, we can use taxes or fees to make people feel the social cost of their actions. This is what economist Arthur P. Gu suggested. Remember the traffic example? This is why some cities have implemented congestion pricing. To enter the city center during peak hours, you have to pay a toll. This tax makes you think twice. Is my trip really worth this extra cost? It encourages people to travel at off-peak times, carpool, or use public transit, which helps manage the commons of the road. The third solution is privatization. The idea is to turn the common resource into a private good. Remember the pasture. If you assign ownership of the land to a single person, that owner now has a powerful incentive to manage it sustainably. They won't let it get overgrazed because they want the land to be productive for years to come. They can charge others a fee to graze sheep, and they'll limit the number of sheep to protect their investment. In a sense, you solve the problem by making the resource excludable. This can work for land, but it's much harder for things like the open ocean or the Earth's atmosphere. You can't exactly build a fence around the air. And that brings us to our last box, which is club goods. These are excludable, but non-rival. Think of a streaming service like Netflix or a private park. They can exclude you if you don't pay your subscription. You can't watch. But your watching a movie doesn't really prevent anyone else from watching it. These are often provided by markets, but they sometimes have their own quirks, like turning into natural monopolies. So, from fireworks to fish, from clean air to cable TV, understanding these four categories, private goods, public goods, common resources, and club goods is crucial. The line between what the market can handle on its own and where we need government intervention often comes down to these two simple properties, excludability and rivalry. The market is great for private goods, But for public goods and common resources, our collective action, often through government, is essential to prevent free riders and avoid tragedy. Now we've seen how markets work and the many ways they can fail. In our next chapter, we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of the government's main tool, the tax system itself. Thanks so much for watching. If this helped clear things up, give that like button a click and subscribe for more. See you in the next chapter.